Okay, guys, welcome to a WrestleSlam special in association with SportsMatters TV. And guys, we are going to talk all things OTT ahead of the iconic 10th anniversary National Stadium Dublin. And look, we are joined by one of the greats at OTT.
Oh,
Uh,
Jesus.
I'm telling you, man, you're one of the greats, and you've got a big fan base. But Dennis, my man, how's things with you? How have you been? And look, I said there's many restless nights leading up to the show.
Oh, Jesus. I can't begin to actually I've been really, really good. I thought the last show was fantastic and kind of just what we needed to build into it. But yeah, it's all kind of all guns blazing now, and it's stressful, but in a good way. You know, you want to um when you're in the position with OTT with them, you want to put your. This goes for everybody in the car as well. You want to put your best foot forward because you know the uh, the eyes of the world, the eyes of the largest wrestling company in the world, and the eyes of the world could be on you.
Yeah.
So it's time to kind of show them what we know we can do. I mean, there's those guys and girls in that locker room can rival anybody on the biggest stage. So it's just to get out there and kind of not let the nerves take over, and and that goes for me too. Just kind of do what we know we're capable of. But yeah, it's been it's nerve wracking, and it's only going to get worse. So
Oh, I can only imagine, man. And I have to
yeah.
ask you a question as a fan. Where were you when you found out? Obviously, look, we know it was announced in the arena. Did you get a tip off beforehand, or
Nope,
did you just see it there
nope.
and then? And
I
what
I
was your
found out
reaction?
found out the exact same time as you, exact same time. So stuff like that, understandably, is played very, very close to the chest. Like,
Mm,
I think that announcement, there was probably only two people who knew.
yeah,
Because when you're working with an organization like WWE, who are so professional, and it's all a machine and all that stuff, you don't want to announce anything or give anything away before it's all finalized, because inevitably stuff will leak out and people's hopes will get up, and then through variety of unhelpful, it can't be helped reasons, it won't happen.
mm,
So it's kind of announced there. But yeah, I remember I was it was we were I think we were about to go to intermission at the last stadium show, and I was about to do my whole, we're gonna take a break, blah blah, usual stuff, and I get a little tap on my shoulder, and it's CJ West, um, and he just kind of said, "Hold off on the announcement. We got a promo package." That's not unusual,
mm.
because sometimes when I'm getting the run of the show, everything's so manic. They'll forget to give me an Iggy on something, and then I'll just get it kind of. That's fine. That's nothing unusual. I'm just thinking, oh, hype package, cool. And I kind of do it usually. I kind of just stood and watched it, and I kind of stopped Foxy, who was kind of heading to the back, just to get him to watch it with me. And then we popped so hard. But we popped as hard. We're still fans, so we popped as hard as anybody else. And then the reality kind of set in of holy shit, but like, it's a big, big deal. It's when you look at it beyond being just fantastic. Like, obviously, JD McDonough and Finn Balor being two very proud Irishmen, and
Mm.
in the Irish Wrestling Hall of Fame, definitely, if nothing else, coming back home and doing this. Beyond that, it's the rebirth of a relationship that was there before with WWE, and arguably could be a more fruitful relationship. This isn't just they're sending over uh, Adam Rose or Heath Slater or a jobber to us that they're not using. Yeah, go over and do whatever you want. They're sending over their champions
Yeah.
to us, which obviously before they sent over, Walter at the time, Gunther now, who was NXT UK champion at the time, but a main roster champion is an
So,
incredibly huge deal for us. And we're all very hopeful for what that could mean into the future. Obviously we don't know, but it's a step in the right direction. And I
definitely.
think it shows the new regime in WWE as well. And they've proven it with Japan, and they're proving it now with us that like they're open. They're open for business. They're willing to work with people, which is again, I didn't think I'd see that, you know.
It is surreal. It's groundbreaking stuff. And I remember where I was, obviously, in that moment, and my headspace was kind of like I was getting dizzy, and I'm like, my God, like you have JD McDonough, aka Jordan Devlin, and Finn Balor both going to be at a show. Matt Murphy, I remember your reaction because obviously we had the group chat going, everything was hopping. We thought it was an April's Fool joke because it's so big that it happened, but yet again it did happen, and yet again it just goes to show, Matt, what OTT have done these past 10 years. And look, it's credit where it's due. It's been months and months and years of hard work.
Yeah, like I still remember that. I thought when I think it was on Phil Connolly
Hmm.
actually said it was like Judgment Day, Finn Balor and JD McDonough's coming to the next OTD show.
Hmm.
And I for that I thought it was one of those talks like, oh, it'd be class if Joe can get like the Young Bucks. So it'd be class if they get
Yeah.
so and so. I'm like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. Then you just sent me on the post and I was like, fucking what? Okay. Was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that'd be class. Oh, it actually is happening. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
and it's like what Jerry said, because I feel like OTT, I always thought the OTTs actually went on longer. It actually feels like that. It was like the 10th anniversary. So
Hmm.
whenever somebody reminds me of that, I'll be surprised thinking that, oh, it's less than that. I was like, no, I thought it was actually longer, actually more than 10 years. So
Yeah.
I feel like that they actually feel like they did reach a landmark, Joe and everyone else. And then it's you're a strong part of it. I mean, you are the voice, you are the sexy bastard in the way of sport, for God's sake. No one will take that away from you. But it feels like that OTT is not just part of Irish wrestling; it's part of wrestling in general.
Oh,
Like definitely.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, like I went to OTT as a fan. This is before I kind of took the plunge and started training to be a wrestler and all this stuff. Before I started doing all that, I went to actually my stag party. I went to an OTT show.
Oh, nice.
And it was featuring Ryan Smile and Haskins and then some just unbelievable. And this was when OTT was kind of really picking up steam. It was really getting to be kind of known as like the indie. Um, like I still have videos on my phone. I sent them around to a couple of lads the other day of like the stadium show where it was like the Angel Cruisers versus Justy Team Prick and all that. And he ran a lawnmower over them and stuff like little things like that. Like I the video you can see like I'm literally I'm sitting I every stadium show I look at that exact same place where I was sat in the crowd because it's so weird. But like it's just it kind of evolved to be this huge thing, and obviously with the pandemic and everything else, it kind of it like most places took the wind out of its sails, and but it feels, I think, more so this year. I think it feels like it's coming back up to speed. It's getting there, like it's kind of getting to the place that we all feel it should be. That it's getting up to be um, the best independent promotion in Europe, but we want to challenge and say it's the best in the world, as far as independent promotions go. And relationships like this is what helps. And, the ticket sales speak for themselves, the fact they went on and they sold out legit in a couple of days, and that's just from literally just saying these guys are going to be there.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
power of it,
Even with
No.
the pre-sale code, I heard there was people offering people hundreds of euro for pre-sale codes because obviously OTT demand is a big thing. But the way the rumor mill goes, "Hey, have you got a pre-sale code? No, get OTT demand and be a man and just get the proper pre-code." But it sent shivers down the spines of so many fans when it was announced. And yet again, Dennis, we look at the way the ticket sales have gone. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be more than a spectacular event. This will be something that will never be forgotten.
That's the thing, and like it's we're treating it like it's our biggest event ever. Like it's obviously the guys are coming over, but it's the 10-year anniversary. It's a huge event, in general. Like it's your normal crew. The Wolverhampton crew are coming over as well, to kind of assist in the show too. It's going to be like I think we're aiming to take the standards higher in production and in feel and professionalism and how it runs and everything like that is gonna the idea is that it'll be elevated. We're treating this as if it is the big one.
Yeah.
So excuse me, if you are lucky enough to have a ticket like it's you're going to be in for a treat. It will I just have this feeling about it. It's going to be one of those ones that, like you said, it's going to be talked about. Like even like it's not just that main event. There's already shaping up to be some absolute banger matches on that card. And again, because of the stage that the boys have brought over to it, every single wrestler, it's the stage they brought over, and the fact it's the stadium and it's a 10-year anniversary. Everybody's going to leave it all in the ring. Like, you're going to see some absolutely insane things. I guarantee you. Everybody's going to be going complete balls to the wall. I just, it's that kind of show.
I can't wait. Yeah, sorry, man.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, and even though we said that OTT is part of wrestling in a whole, because believe it or not, now Dennis, I think about 10% of wrestling fans doesn't know yet about OTT. And if they see about JD McDonough and Finn Balor coming over, they're probably going to go to the show just to see the two lads.
Exactly.
No idea what they're getting themselves into. They're going to see
and that's the aim. Most of the time, that is the aim for getting guys like this in. Is like, yeah, obviously, look, you're a business. You want to turn a profit. You want to sell tickets, of course. But you hope that somebody will see that and go, "Oh, holy shit! I never thought like I was once upon a time. I never thought to go to wrestling in my own country. Oh, fuck, they have the WWE World Tag Team Champions. Jesus, I'm gonna go to that. Like the kind of fans I've spoken to several fans who have never been to a show before, and yet now they're there all the time, and that's kind of how you grow your fan bases, and these guys can help that. They can draw them in, but then it's up to the regular roster to keep them there, by doing what they do best and putting out entertaining matches and kind of entertaining stories and doing all this and keeping people who may have just come to see the imports and to see the visitors over, keep them there to see what OTT is about on a regular basis,
Definitely. And one thing I'm looking forward to, we've had very few announcements, which I absolutely love, but we've got a big match, and a certain man from Scotland by the name of Grado. Life is a mystery.
that entrance is going to be amazing. Yeah. Like it's the new OTT European Championship, which we're all very excited about. It's I think it's kind of a fresh start on a new division, and like even the guys you have in that match, again, it's going to be incredible. You have Santos, you have Charlie Sterling, Grado, of course, some lads who we know can deliver. And again, they're going to go all out to be that first ever champion. Because again, if this show is, like we feel it will be, such a big show that it is kind of remembered in history, well, you're the first ever OTT European champion. Nothing can take that away from you. So you get a shiny new piece of gold, and you get the the accolades of winning that stadium. It's going to be amazing, and I'm not sure if there's going to be many more. I'm sure there will be more matches announced, but we have actually, I don't know if I could say that. No, I don't think that one's...
Don't just in case.
I won't, because I don't know if it's been announced officially, so I won't.
I don't want Joe put me in a headlock.
I won't get myself in fucking trouble. You in a headlock, I'll be fired out the fucking door. I'm not. I'm not going to.
We'll wait until they announce that one, but
the podcast is getting blamed, to be fair. So
no, we won't, just in case. But obviously, I think for the fans, Dennis, we weren't too sure where JD and Finn we obviously it was announced that, and we weren't too sure if it was going to be a match, but we could have expected, look, they're going to be in a match, and obviously the social elite and the guys to step up and listen. This is an all Irish battle, and that's what we want.
That's it. Like the history there as well, just with Maxer alone, speaks for itself. Maxer, you have a guy there with 20 years of experience who has worked with Finn Balor and JD McDonough extensively in every aspect in every country. He knows them like the back of his hand. So you have to believe that when they're facing off against each other in the ring, like that's a surreal moment for them. But it also means that when there's a built-in history, it's easy to get invested. And of course, Matthew Bullet Smith, I rate Matthew Bullet Smith as just one of the best young wrestlers. Like the guy's only been on the scene for I think 2 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he's already just so goddamn good at everything he does. And for him to be in the ring with those three people and get to kind of stand tall and prove himself and see can he hang with the absolute best. I mean, I know, look, I know, as any of us would be, he's nervous as hell.
Yeah.
Of course he is. But like again, I've seen what that kid can do. Like if anybody's going to pull it out of the bag, it's him. Look, and you know, every single person on the roster, of course, would kill for that spot. But to me, it makes sense. They're the OTT Tag Team Champions. Let's put them against the WWE World Tag Team Champions. As Maxer said at the last show, let's see who the best tag team in the world is.
Yeah.
So it's going to be absolutely crazy because if you think for a second, those two lads, Maxer and Bullet, aren't going to go out there with a chip on their shoulder and something to prove to the world, you're crazy because they more than anybody know how many eyes could possibly be on them and how many big eyes could be on them. So they're going to want to prove something and they're going to want to do something special and really set themselves apart. And I think they have the ability to do it, definitely.
And I'm glad you talked in depth about Maxer because I'm going to speak of Maxer first of all. I remember seeing him, I think it would have been AWR many years ago, right?
Wrestling Rampage, yeah.
Yeah, he always had the look, okay? He had the long hair. The physique was beyond belief, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I rate him massively, okay? But for some people would say he's very underrated because obviously, we know he's wrestling in Japan and he's one of the biggest stars in Ireland, but people need to realize that Maxer right now is good enough to wrestle in any organization in the world. Absolutely. And be up there with the best. So, like, how vital is he to Irish wrestling? And look, he's so good, so good.
Oh, like, again, like, if you underrate Maxer, you don't really know where he's from and what he's done, because he has been everywhere. He's traveled what people would have called the kind of paying their dues road, like going to Japan, training in the dojos, getting the shit kicked out of him on the daily. Like the man's even just his warm up routine would kill most people. Hasn't seen a carb in probably 18 years. Like he's a different level of intensity. His chops are some of the nastiest chops this side of Gunther. The man is uber gifted. There's a reason he's one of the head coaches at the School of Irish Wrestling, and he does so much with them. He's at a place where he's giving back. You know, he's helping others come up like Bullet and like others, and kind of training them to a high standard. And yeah, you're completely right. There's very few people that Sean Maxer Guinness wouldn't have a good, like, even what he would term as a bad match would probably be an absolutely great match to most of us to see. He's his own worst critic on a lot of stuff, but the man is a machine. Like and when he's in there with the likes of Finn Balor and JD McDonough, you'll see it turned on and you'll see how good he can be. But I think part of the accomplishment is actually being so underrated, because in the tag team in Social Elite, he's an integral part of the team, and I couldn't imagine the team without him. But he also, I think, wants to help Bullet shine as much as he possibly can. You know, and use his ability to do that, which is an incredible talent and incredibly selfless to actually just say, no, do you know what? I've done my thing. I want to help more, and I want to give back to the industry that I love. You know, because God knows none of us, we don't do this for the money. You know, it's at all. Because Jesus, that would be very bad. So it's the love, and for somebody to be involved for 20 odd years at that level, yeah, insane.
He's the man.
Yeah, it's just, I really can't see Max having a bad match. I
don't think he ever has. And as you say, I remember being starstruck, because obviously being a wrestling fan as a kid, and then obviously American Wrestling Rampage and all the Irish Whip Wrestling. And, you know, we got the few shows around Cork and Killarney and the Glen Eagle. And I just remember one of the first times I seen him, and yet again, I was like, this man is incredible. And obviously, always follow his story, always watch these matches. He's wrestling the best of the best. The man is just a credit to Irish wrestling. And what I will say is that I reckon there'll be a lot of fans, because, you know, in the interval and after the show, you have the stalls will be out and the fans will get to meet the wrestlers and stuff. There'll be a massive line there for the Social Elite, no matter what. And it just goes to show Maxer is the man.
Absolutely. Like, it's funny you kind of mentioned American Wrestling Rampage. Like, I mean, I remember some of my first wrestling shows were seeing likes of Paul Tracy and Paddy Morrow, Alex Breslin, who's retired now, but Bonesaw, Corvin, these lads who were, you know, doing, you know, the .ie circuit, the AWR circuit, and all that stuff, and like, you'd see some insane gimmicks at Everton, but these guys have been around for, like, arguably, I had this discussion the other day. Actually, not arguably, I don't think you can argue it. Like, Irish wrestling wouldn't exist without Finn Balor and Paul Tracy.
Yeah,
it just wouldn't, because they're the two that really started it over here. Like, they're the two that kind of opened school and started training and did all this stuff. Like, it wouldn't be here. So we owe an incredible amount to those two alone, and never mind the other people who kind of paved the way on the international scene, like Sheamus and Becky, obviously, and like you owe so much to them. Like, I remember, again, you were saying, like, IWW. I remember being lucky enough to see Drew Galloway, you know, versus Sheamus and God. I know I'm forgetting people. There were
SOS, Famous Essential,
yeah. Like, there were so many people who would go on to be just the stars, like, at these shows, and like, you'd meet them afterwards getting a bag of chips or something, and nobody cared, you know, like, and it's crazy times. Like, I still get starstruck when I meet them, but I kind of have to. I've learned ways to force myself to overcome it pretty quickly now, because I have to, you know. So.
Yeah, that's like when I interviewed LJ Cleary. Like, we met him so many times, and we're like, yeah, we know who you are, you're unreal. I had a chance to interview him like in Hard Knocks a while back, and I actually got starstruck now that he's like making a name for himself and all that. I'm like, hey, we met before. Where's this feeling coming from? So it's like you said, you never know who you're going to watch and
that's the thing. It can happen. Like, I mean, you run into these people and you see them all the time, and then suddenly you're face to face with them and they're actually talking to you, and you're going, oh, Jesus. Like, you know, for me, it was like Gangrel and RVD and all these people, like meeting them, or even just being in a ring when the music hits and suddenly you get that shiver up your spine going, oh, Jesus Christ, and um, it kind of, it takes you a second and you're like, okay, I need to, try to do this now, um, but like, it's always a pleasure, and it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun when the boys come over, and I'm just excited to see where we go.
Definitely. Who's been your favorite? Like I know you mentioned Gangrel, and we know, like I'm going through the list of names that we've been lucky enough to interview with OTT since day one. We mentioned Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, Keith Lee. Like, you mentioned Nixon Newell, okay? I remember she was there in the National Stadium and she just literally signed a pre-contract with WWE. But the list is absolutely endless. But
Mm.
I got shivers when Gangrel came out at the National Stadium.
Yeah,
That team, and it just, the song. 'Cause
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember gimmicking that song in school as a kid. It
That's such a
is,
cool song. It is so cool.
oh,
It's so cool. Like, it still is. It's unbelievable.
magic.
But like, oh, sorry, go on.
No, so
Oh
like
no,
for you, who would be like, obviously, it's I love being starstruck. That's one thing I absolutely adore. I love being
Mm.
all giddy, and I'm like, holy shit, I just got starstruck. And you're driving home back to Cork, and you're like, fucking hell, I feel like a kid. You know what I mean? But like for you, who was that one that stood out, and you said, right, man, I love my job. I love being an OTT announcer. I fucking love life, and man, I'm glad that I listened to all my cheaters, and it's
I'm
because there's
toying
so
with if
many. Yeah,
I'm toying with if I should tell the story or not. Yeah, go on.
no,
Why
go
not?
on.
go on, give us a story. Go on.
Rob Van Dam.
Mm.
Rob Van Dam, definitely. For the announcement in the ring alone, like getting to kind of lead the way on saying, he's the whole fucking show.
Hmm.
Rob Van Dam, and seeing every single person in the place, saying it with me, was insane. But like, life goal achieved, because I got to smoke weed with him.
Yes,
But
yes.
if Rob Van Dam offers you to smoke weed with him, I don't care if you've never smoked, you're going to.
Hmm.
It's like if Snoop Dogg offered you something, you're gonna.
Yeah.
So it was myself, and another person who I won't name, and Rob Van Dam, and literally we smoked. But he was so nice, and just telling us stories, and just being just really just chatty, and just forthcoming with advice, and just again road stories, like funny things and like scary moments, and talking about the time that he went through the table and he nearly lost an eye. And
Was he standing up when he was doing all this? So like, was
oh
he?
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like, we were outside. It was rainy. It was cold. It was miserable, Ireland. But we were all just kind of huddled in this little corner outside the stadium, just talking, and it was fantastic. Like, it's one of those memories. I know I joke and kind of say, yeah, we were smoking weed or whatever, but it was like, it was just one of those moments that you'll always have, and it was really, really cool to kind of see somebody that you watched um, from ECW right into WWE,
Mm.
and now suddenly you're here and you're getting all these really cool stories that you would have killed for as a kid, and getting his insight into like a business that he's done pretty much everything in. Was just, I wouldn't trade it for the world. It was fantastic. There's been other, like, honestly, most if not all have been absolutely lovely people. Some I I won't comment. But uh, Gangrel, another just salt of the earth, really nice person.
Mm.
Enzo Amore, really nice guy and very forthcoming,
You
with
can't teach
everything.
that.
Would just talk for Jesus. Santino Morella, another lovely guy who kind of I traveled with, because it kind of brought him to and from the venues and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And Nick Nemeth, another just really good guy. Like honestly, there's one, maybe two that have been a bit meh, but they haven't been bad. They just not been anything to me, really,
Talking
which
to
I
us, I get it.
understand as well. When I broach some people, I do kind of remind myself of my position, and so I am a ring announcer, I'm not. I kind of have to be careful. I'm not overstepping boundaries, and I'm not going in and interrupting people, with discussing, other stuff that's happening, and kind of know my place and step back and just say, like, sometimes it's just a matter of going, hey, do you need anything special? Cool, bye, and getting out.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just kind of, it's possible that sometimes it's been on me where maybe I've interrupted something or something like that, but that's usually because it's running late and I need something. That's
I think the best one is kind of like with those moments you need to lock away that fanboy, just like be professional about it.
Absolutely.
The moment you're locking eyes with them and they're talking to you, it's like, oh my God, I know this person from TV. Now they're talking to
Yeah.
me. That was probably the difficult thing is actually fighting that fanboying.
Oh yeah, 100%. I usually, for me, it's um you see, because of their position and everything, you kind of have to grab a moment when they're free.
Mm-hmm.
When they're not talking to somebody else, or they're not, you don't want to interrupt them or whatever. So I'll usually kind of be chatting away to other people, and I'll just see they're free. I'll just, in my head, I'm just going kind of business. I have to do this now because I might not get to do this, and I do need information. I'm not just going to gush or whatever. So I kind of just take a breath, go. And it's very much a business mind kind of takes over where I'm just like, need this, go. And afterwards I can be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, But once I get my stuff, I can relax then,
You're good. No, I love it. Now let's talk yet again 10th anniversary, right? Because we've got about 4 minutes left. How do you wake up in the morning of the 10th anniversary? Tell us hour by hour the way you're going to go about the day until you get to the National Stadium, if you can.
I am going to wake up in my hotel room,
Nice.
and I am going to probably take a very long shower, get some breakfast, and I am going to, more than likely, I'm going to get my gear. I'm going to iron it out in the hotel room. I'm going to probably put on some crappy YouTube, and try and calm myself a little bit, until usually about 5 to 6 hours before the show time. I'll then probably start making my way to the venue. I like to get there early, so if there's any help needed with setup, or it's usually my chance to kind of sneak info and stuff from people before I start interrupting
Of course, you have
things.
vocal exercises as well. That's kind of key. Or
When I get there, I'll have usually warm water with some honey. Drink that. I've been doing that since way back in the day when I used to be a touring musician. I always have this little thing. It's just warm water and honey, straight out. Honestly, after a stadium show, my voice is going to be blown out anyway, regardless of what I do. So, uh, like if you ever go to like the shows afterwards, you'll notice it's a lot weaker. But I'll have some warm water and honey, and I will then put on my headphones. I'll listen to a playlist I have that kind of calms me and all that while I make my notes and anything special. I'll then have a meeting privately with Joe and see if there's anything he needs from me specifically, or anything he needs to get across, or anything he'd like me to do or not do. And then we'll have our general meeting. And then after that, it's to the locker room and get dressed. And then usually I get dressed way too early, so I'm just standing there panicking for another half hour to 45 minutes. And I never ever learn, ever. And I don't smoke anymore, so I can't even go and smoke a cigarette and calm down. Although I might smoke at that weekend, I don't know yet. It's going to be very stressful. And it's very, I do, like, I do suffer pretty badly with anxiety. But it's those last few moments when the promo videos are playing and I'm standing behind the curtain, and usually me and the guys, so me and Foxy, Angus, and Jamie will have a little huddle, just our little group, and we'll kind of have a little brother hug and all that because we're like a little family. And then I'll go off into a little corner just so I can just have a bit of quiet time. And while that's playing, then, and honestly, it's right up until I set a foot out through the curtain, it's panic, panic, panic. But the strangest thing is when every single time I've stepped through the curtain, it's just calmed.